What's good, man? Just definitely trying to talk about the Lil Durk situation and all the stuff that's been happening in the hip hop industry, man. This guy just basically put himself in one of the worst scenarios you can imagine. Being accused of a murder for hire, and the whole world got a way of seeing that how the police put this down, and they put it all out in the media, so it's really no escape. Did he actually do this? Is this really how he kick it with all his money? It's gonna be really interesting to see, and especially with the feds making sure he go to prison behind his behavior. It's crazy. Imagine living at the top of life, having private jets, chefs, all kind of expensive restaurants, expensive locations and hotels. You got your own mansion, probably in several states. Now you're sitting in a jail cell in a community that you don't know, in a location you're not familiar with, and it's no getting out. Like they basically said, you're not getting out. And now you sitting in this baby trying to figure out how the hell to get out. If it's gonna be a court date, do you have to call somebody? Do you know somebody? Is your money gonna help you? Like it's just so many things you're trying to figure out, and there's really nobody to count on but yourself. And the bigger question is, what do if you're a multi-million-dollar rapper and they accuse you for murder for hire, and you don't even know what the hell going on? What do you do? It's a big question. I look at it like somebody like Dirk really do have a chance, because if he fight it, which would be no questioning what you got to do, because just accepting 30 years is crazy. So that means you got to put your life on the line and just kind of fight it and say, I'm not going to do it. And I'm just going to go ahead and accept my fate and fight. But the real question is, why would he put himself in this scenario? If you're rich, if you're making money, if God bless you to be rich, why on earth would you put yourself in a scenario, or even know people in communication with people that's that young and wild minded, where they ready to shoot up and kill people, even if it's in retaliation, because you got multi millions of dollars. You probably didn't been on expensive yachts. You probably didn't travel to different countries. You've seen much more than the average person, but you still got a vendetta between or against somebody from another state. Because Quando Rondo is not even from the state that Lil Durk is from, so that it just don't seem logical that Durk would want to be associated with something like this. So the feds got to associate his bank card with the scenario. They got to connect his actual money that he makes with that scenario, so that so they can prove that he did it. Otherwise, there's really no proof of knowing if he actually did that, other than the word of the police. Because I even thought he could even go in there and say he had somebody stole his identity, and by the time he found out, it was too late. But I don't think that'll happen in work, because apparently the crime associated with this happened 2 years ago, and they were just investigating it at this point, and saw him trying to leave town, and they jumped on it and said, let's arrest him before he get too far. So that means they got to bring a case against him. It's cool to hold him as the his possibility of might fleeing before you get the case risen against them. But if they do get that case together and they offer him them plea deals, I don't think he gonna take it. I think he is gonna sit there and just fight it. But it's so crazy, because if you don't take it, they give you life in prison. And I even heard the death penalty. It's like, what? It's almost like TV. It's like, this can't be real. A person make it out the hood and become successful, and now you telling me that they have to spend the rest of their life in prison. It's like one of the most weird things you ever heard about, because you don't hear that from media. Like, oh, while I was a kid watching TV, you don't really hear about the white guy that played in this show, and then now he's convicted of this, that, and the third, and he's going to prison for life. You just don't hear it. I'm not saying it don't happen. You just don't hear it. So it's not like something that happens all the time, if it does happen. So I can't see him doing the thing that will make him going to sit in prison when he know he's giving up everything. And like somebody even said, you're giving up your children, you're giving up your child, you're giving up your future. Why would you want to give all that up? Like, what reason would you feel like, I don't want this no more? It's time for me to just give it all up and go sit in a prison. Prison is amazingly treacherous. I can't even imagine what it would be like to sit in a jail cell 24 hours. You know, that guy, he's a rapper, what's his name? Finesse Two Times. He made a statement, excuse me, recently about going to prison, going to prison like that and being stuck. He said, I've been through the struggle. These rap niggas ain't did no time. Wait, okay, I've been through these rap niggas ain't did no time. They don't know how 24-hour lockdown feel. They don't know. They just talking on my kids. They ain't ready. I've been there, done that, and I ain't proud of it. But when I try to be different, I'm a B. I'm a B, ain't Nick. Shake my head. But I'm gonna keep going because y'all gonna see I'm smart. I ain't hard. So that's what Finesse Two Times had to say about it. Let's see if he had anything else to say. Excuse me. Niggas don't be ready for what come with that street shit. It be all fun and games to them white folks debating about your life. Everybody gonna laugh and call you stupid, and another nigga gonna be raising your kids, and that B you thought was loyal, gone. When them white folks say 60 years to life, when you did 20 years and your whole family dead when you get out. So now you go on your own. Niggas better think about it. So it's like he basically giving a warning to people saying that it seemed like you're gonna be able to slide through and get through this whatever ordeal that you put yourself through, but it ain't really likely that if they get a chance to start trying talking about your life because of your crime, it's not gonna turn good. It can't turn good. It can only turn bad. So why would you put yourself in that scenario? When somebody like Finesse Two Times, I'm sorry, yeah, like Finesse Two Times to actually have been in prison, I can't remember, 10 years, 12 years, however long as he did, and then he made it out and became a rapper, whether people like him or don't like him or hate him or whatever the issues are, he still followed that dream and made himself what he could be so he can be successful, right? And I'm sure he got friends that's from the block, from the hood, and they want you to do stuff or still get involved with things. And you gotta pick your battles. Excuse me. You gotta figure out which one you'll do. Will you put everything on the line so that you can go over here and gang bang up with some guys? Will you put all that on the line and be like, hey, I got money. I'm not putting nothing on the line. I see all y'all. Because that's another thing that a Durk or these guys got to do. If he does confess, if he does turn state's evidence, well, now you lose your street cred. But what age bracket does the street cred stop? When does that become something that's not relevant to a young man's life? That's something that I guess every individual got to answer to his own self, because the street life is not necessarily you running with a gang all the time. It could be some girl is dating another guy, and now you got to really debate, or not debate, but fight for the girl. Not physically fight, but you have to do certain things to win the girl over. So the qualities you might have to come with might have to be a little bit more urban or edgy so that you can make the girl interested in you. Not necessarily that you even like that, but that's you'll play the role so that you can make sure you get this girl. That's what it is. And if she see that you're not genuine, that might be something she'll say in the future. But until then, you'll play that role because you gotta have this girl. And anything, you'll do what you gotta do to get it. So I just don't know why those guys did so much. I mean, not those guys, the Durk, because he's the real big star here. Put himself in a predicament like that where he can get arrested. Then he said he was trying to flee the country. That's the reason why it's hard to get a bond. Because normally they just let you up out of there with a bond. It's like a new time frame. But then you're trying to leave the country, so they say. So we got to figure out from his lawyer is going to reveal ultimately what was happening. Why was he trying to flee the country? What did he know? Why was it interesting for him to get up out of there? That's a big question. So now we got to figure out how to make this next $1 million come through. But seeing it from that perspective, it's like how you make this guy. How do you make them be smarter? You know what I'm saying? Because that's a lot of money to be leaving out here in the world. Your kids got to try to fend for themselves. Your family. He made big, gigantic music, so his music will probably sell way into the future. So that means how do we calling from the prison telling your family, hey, I need to do this with that money. I need you to do this. It's just like trapping you, and you've been free, free, free. Because we've been free. You know, we all free. We walking around the earth, but the dreams that we have in our mind kind of make us feel unfree. Like, oh man, I can't afford this flight to go here. I can't take my loved one to this thing. I would love to be able to pay for this event or this location to go to. But if you got millions and millions of dollars in your account and obviously you know 9 to 5 to show up to, then it's like you got time and money. It's like, hey, let's book here, let's fly there. So to me, that would be the thing that'll make me more interested in being rich than necessarily running with my old crew. That was, you know, again, I would even probably help them go do places, go, especially depending on how rich you are. I'd have been like, y'all need to go fly somewhere with your girl. You need to fly somewhere with your parents or whatever. And that's on me. You know what I'm saying? We've been through a lot, you know, or take some of this money and open up a this kind of shop and you open up a that kind of shop. But I guess they so young, you can't think that, you know, you can't hide these thoughts. I'm old. So I would automatically be thinking all this old stuff to do to invest. But when you're in your young years, you just having a good ass time. And you rapping, and you on stage with stars, and you getting Grammys, and you getting the keys to cities. You're not thinking about you're probably thinking in your life. As soon as this slow down, I'm gonna get myself. As soon as I get off the road, as soon as I stop doing these meetings or showing up to these locations, I'm gonna try to let me take a note in my phone and remind myself to come back and start investing in this or these people mentioned that to me. I gotta kind of remember this stuff when I get back. Otherwise, it's just gonna be fleeting information. You're not gonna be able to remember all of those things that's important for you to remember if you're actually trying to be successful. So it's just crazy, you know, for somebody like him to be, you know, have such a fan base and then go sit down in another state you're not from, you don't know none of the people up there, and then you're gonna sit up in there and be up in the detention centers. U.S. Marshals arrest you. The guys in question used their real name, at least one of them did, in renting the cars, and then they trying to say that the credit card that they used was associated with Lil Durk's rap company, OTF. Is that true or not? I'm sure they got. You know they're gonna have to come and prove that. Is it easy to prove? Is it like a basic bam 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 and it's over, or is it no? It's hard to prove that. You know what I'm saying? Like what's going to be the proof in that? You know what I'm saying? But he's more than likely going to have to fight the case from behind bars. So he won't be free to run around and be like, oh man, I just left my lawyer office. Let me go over here and handle this business. Or, you know, like sometimes when I was younger, the rappers who knew they was having imminent jail coming down the pipeline, they would go and make all these albums. So by the time while they're in prison, they would drop albums. I never really followed a lot of those. I know they was happening. So maybe later on you might hear some of the albums and shit like that because I'm sure the distribution was really crazy. But old boy Vibes Cartel was doing that before he got freed in Jamaica. He was making his own albums in his cell. But this is another country, so I don't know if they allow that in America. You know, for you to make your own music right then and there, you probably would have to do like Tory Lanez was doing, where he called on the phone and he called to the people to ask them, you know, blah 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 blah. Then he make the beat, he make the music over the phone, and then they kind of do the whatever they call it, the tuning of it, auto tuning of it, so that they can make it sound right. But you know, that's just crazy because I mean, 24 hour lockdown is what Finesse Toussaint said he had to deal with at times in jail. You know, he was just doing a lot of writing, but he had an out date, which has been 20 years, so he's out now. He's under 50 years old. So I don't know his exact age, but he's under that age bracket. So he got a lot of life to go. But if you 32 and what 12, what's that? 18 years, Abba, you'll be 50. You'll be 50, and then it's like, yeah, now it's no longer you a young dude. It's like you an old cat, and you sitting back. You know, it's not like that no more. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, what you gonna do? Run the streets forever? He should have had somebody talking to him, telling him that it's time for you to retire. It's time for you to get off the streets. But because I remember the guy Larry Hoover and them who was real famous names when I was growing up. Now I'm an adult man. Them people still in prison. They never let him out. They never let him out, and he fighting right now after 50 years, over 50 years, to get out. So was that going to be Dirk in 40, 30 years in the future? He 32 now, so that means he'll be 82 years old. Asking them to let him out of prison. I don't know if your brain is strong enough to accept something like that. Because now, if you a regular person, you don't have nothing. You just a normal person. You got to go to a job every day. Probably hate the job. Some scenario like that wouldn't probably be as bad. It'll be bad, obviously, because you don't want to be free. You want to be free, but imagine having everything you want in life. You could just walk out of any building. You could summon a cab. You could pay for it. Any store you go in, you can afford it. You could pay for everybody who with you to get in the football game or the baseball game. So it's not money ain't a thing like Jay-Z was saying at one point in a rap. So it's like, of course you'll do what the hell you got to do to keep that. It's like I'm not giving that up. I'm not letting y'all cut me out and have me in jail and don't get nothing out the deal but a prison cell. It's just amazingly crazy. And you talk about young, 32, my God. His birthday was like a week before he got arrested. And he did a big concert in Chicago where he sold out the arena, the United Center where the basketball team played. So imagine that. You grew up in a town, hard blocks, hard city, ugly, rough, but somehow your body and your mind navigated through the town and you was able to become a full grown adult. You made it out. And then you just rapped and rapped and rapped and rapped and rapped and rapped and rapped when you young. And then one day it hit. And so they say he's been in the industry like 10 years almost, so in 2015 till now. So you talking about 2 more months, that's 10 years. So that's a stretch now. Because he probably was rapping before he got signed, obviously. But that's a nice stretch. So now you 15 or whatever he was at that time, and he 20 or something, 17, now he become a big time rapper. And so he succeeded. He's successful, but his mindset was still stuck in the hood, stuck on the block. So now all of a sudden you dying in jail. And that is worth. That's why I'm like, I don't know if he is gonna sit back and just allow this to happen to him. It's a high possibility he might tell. He might go in and tell and say, look, fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead and say what's going on. This blah 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 and blah blah blah. He might just tell, cause that's the only smart thing he can do at this point. By not saying nothing and just taking the time, they're gonna be like, "You son of a bitch, you're not gonna tell." Okay, cool. So we're gonna give you more time. We're gonna give you even more time. So sometimes you might have to just go ahead and spit what it is and not worry, because they're not gonna let you off the hook. So y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think, and we're gonna talk about this in a minute and more subjects. Peace.